going to be a short video file, and this is to show you, again, some books I have concerning what is called organized stalking, and it's also called gang stalking. And it's not stalking by gangs, it's organized crime in the system that is perpetrating these particular types of crimes. Now, universities, public libraries, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to state to you some of the places that can be used for organized harassment that it's attached to organized stalking and or gang stalking. And it's nothing but, again, like I've already stated, organized crime in the system that is perpetrating these crimes. Now, let me show you something, okay, real fast here. This was the daily, the Aztec, okay, is SDSU's newspaper. Look what it says here. SDSU ranked 7th most dangerous college, okay? And this was published on November 29, 2012. And a notification was sent to a Senator Feinstein concerning a particular person who was assaulted on an MTS bus. And the same person was gang stalked as she was camping 200 feet away from the San Diego FBI building for 6 full months. Now, Senator Feinstein was, I noticed, I'll put it to you this way, I noticed a printout, okay, and a email contact that was sent to Senator Feinstein from her website stating to this effect. And in that contact information that was videotaped, it clearly said, will this woman be banned or arrested or banned from any university library? No, this person stated that will this person be banned from any university or San Diego Public Library? And within 36 hours, I was arrested at SDSU for literally doing nothing. Literally. I was sitting down in a media booth in the media center in the bottom of their, in the basement of their library, attempting to watch a movie. And a guy came up to me who turned out to be discovered as being a SDSU media room employee. He said he was just a student, and he started harassing me. So I got up and stated, this guy's harassing me. He took off, then went and got campus safety, came back, and they started saying that I was shouldn't have been there in the first place, even though another homeless guy was in there watching videos as this was transpiring. And so they staged a big event and arrested me for literally doing absolutely, literally nothing, minding my own business, trying to watch a video that I even brought with me. And I had been in their media room on at least 100 occasions watching movies in the past. Now, part of the reason why SDSU did this is because SDSU was already being exposed all over the internet for engaging in. Okay? And they seen through cyber surveillance, which is a method of gang stalking, and that can be Googled. They seen that I was preparing a bunch of documentation, which was sent to the Department of Education concerning being gang stalked now on, well, the universities I mentioned in that information I sent to the Department of Education talked about 4 universities and 1 community college. SDSU, USD, and UCSD were 3 of the California universities that I mentioned in that documentation, along with videos. They eventually got sent information by USP Post Office, certified mail information, so much information, the paper amount was that thick, okay? And a lot of the printed out information had to do with information concerning SDSU, and all of that information was compiled at the North University San Diego Public Library and SDSU. And I caught gang stalking undisputably happening on their campus. Yes, I did. Now, so what is the likelihood? Because the information that was sent to Senator Feinstein did not mention my name at all. And that information was sent to Senator Feinstein on 1/30/2013, and I was arrested on 1/2/01/2013, within 36 hours after that email was sent from a separate university, California State San Marcos University, and I know that it is a factual reality that the person who sent it, that was their only visit at all to that university, at all. Now, these are some books concerning electronic torture, electronic rape, technology, and gang stalking at the post office. And this author's name on this book is not the real author's name. She used a fake name in order to conceal her identity. Now this is a documentation file concerning a Victoria Rose, who was an organized stalking, gang stalking target in San Diego, Chula Vista, California. Right at the bottom of where she stated her location was when she was experiencing the crime, states remote neural monitoring. Her name is Victoria Rose. Throughout this documentation file, you can find it by going to Google and typing in Victoria Rose, San Diego, California, organized gang stalking target, or remote neural monitoring. Okay? In this documentation file that she wrote, every single thing she wrote in this documentation file, to a T, is directly described by a separate targeted individual in this book. And the electronic torture and electronic rape have to do with the capabilities of remote neural monitoring. And remote neural monitoring can be discovered at the bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. At the very bottom of the webpage, there's 3 PDF links. Go to it, go to them, open them up, print them out, and keep them for reference, for documentation, for reference purposes. So you can, once you start investigating targets, blogs, and YouTube videos and information online concerning gang stalking, you'll be able to see that remote neural monitoring can manipulate you neurally, physiologically, using the central nervous system as a conduit for neurological and physiological access. This is another book called Invisible Crime, Illegal Microchip, Implants, and Microwave Technology, and Their Use Against Humanity by Mike Fitzhugh-Bell. A true story. This individual wrote this book. He lived in Beverly Hills when this his targeting started towards him. He's now living in Palm Springs, but they even had him gang stalked all the way to North Carolina. You see Beverly Hills right here, okay? And he's got diagrams in here that I had already had printed out and are still in my backpack today concerning the technological resources. Now V2K, voice to skull technology. Look at this. This is Victoria Rose's documentation file. Second page, V2K, voice to skull, okay, and remote neural monitoring, okay. V2K is mentioned throughout this book, and he's even got a diagram showing what V2K is. It's voice to skull. It's technology that can literally cause the target to hear voices, including their own voice, that are morphed by the perpetrators and transmitted into the target's audio cortex for them to hear. You got to remember what this is. Microwave technology. And a lot of targeted individuals are implanted non-consensually. This is where, in part, the neural manipulation, physiological manipulation, and non-consensual human experimentation are brought against targets of gang stalking. And this is a diagram here that you can find online by typing this in, or you can type in psychotronic weapons effects, and you'll come up with this diagram. And that's a good diagram for you to have once you're cross-referencing the remote neural monitoring information online. And he talks about organized stalking and gang stalking throughout this entire book. Now, targeted individuals of this crime cannot get no help because this technology that was developed that's used against us was developed by the military. Okay? And it's been trickled down to wealthy corporations, organized crime syndicates. It's been trickled down to the state and local governments, and even institutions. Okay? So, you know, I think a good thing for you to understand is that if you go to Google and type in live leak, Greg Skamansky and Julian McKinney, you'll see a radio interview. And Julian McKinney is mentioned in the resources feature of either the first or second PDF link at the bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. She states that it's not just the targets of this crime that are being neurally choreographed, but it's also the people they're getting to harass a target, which 90% of the time are just duped community members who are lied to about the target in order to excite them, intimidate them, collude with them, bribe them, intimidate them to harass a target for them, the syndicate. And as a result of what they're told to do, they are being neurally choreographed as they're doing it. Now, to give you a sidebar illustration concerning how that can be done or why, go to Google and type in December 2012 Scientific America magazine. You'll see the front cover of it shows the magnetic resonance imaging of a brain. And right next to it, in reference to how they put dialogue there to show you what the article is about, says physical gestures and language areas of the brain have been mapped. Every single time at least 90, I'd say at least 95% of the organized harassment that a gang stalking target, organized stalking target experiences is what is known as sensitization methods. And sensitization methods are where they sensitize the target to either a physical gesture or a word or a phrase or even a sound. So think about this. At the live leak broadcast with Greg Skamansky and Julian McKinney flat out states that the ones that are actually being neurally choreographed are the people that they're getting to harass a target in specific ways, okay? What they're doing is being neurally choreographed, okay? She flat out states that the ones they're getting to harass a target on the dispensing end are the ones who are being currently neurally choreographed. So, when they get people to harass a target, the ones who are harassing a target at the dispensing end are the ones who are being neurally choreographed. When they harass a target, they're told to harass a target in a specific way. And that is, the ways they're told to harass a target is by placing them around a target and having them engage in certain physical gestures or language. Okay, and the rest of the time it's with specific sounds, like clearing your throat, clearing your nose, coughing in certain ways, or sneezing. Yes, certain sounds. Now that's where they're neurally choreographing physiological signals, because every time you cough, your lungs are being used, okay? The brain is being sent a message to cough, okay? That's a command, which is language, internal language, subvocal speech. When you sneeze, that's a physiological signal, okay? When you clear your throat, that's a motor cortex associated behavior using physiological signals. So if the people they're getting to harass a target in these ways, they're called sensitization methods, okay? So what's being neurally choreographed? The physical gestures, which are the motor cortex associated behaviors where the brain is commanding the musculature system, the MG signals, to engage in certain behaviors like moving the arm and moving the hand to do specific things towards a target. Certain words or phrases they're told to say against the target, that's language area of the brain. Physical gestures, the motor cortex associated behaviors of moving the arms and the hands, and the language areas, the words and the phrases. And that's why targets are sensitized to words or phrases and physical gestures that they're constantly experiencing by people that are duped to do these things towards a target. And why is that being done? Not just to assist in breaking down the target as a result of the target's mind and body reacting to the amount of times they see these sensitization tactics being utilized against them, because the sensitization tactics concerning the target's end is usually associated with a trauma. So that constantly brings the target's physiological responses and mental responses and emotional responses constantly being re-experienced as a result of every time the sensitization tactic is brought about towards them. But their main goal is to neurally choreograph as many people as possible to engage in language, words and phrases that are constantly repeated against the target, and motor cortex associated behaviors, which are the physical movements, the physical gestures that they're told to bring about towards a target. And it literally flat out states it on the Scientific American magazine that the language area of the brain and physical gestures have been brain mapped. Now, what are the devices that they're neurally choreographing these people with and targets with? It's called the neurophone. Go to www.surveillanceissues.com and thoroughly look at everything on their homepage and the remote neural monitoring. And these devices have been scaled down, perfected and scaled down to handheld devices that can look like cell phones, tablets, laptops, and other devices that I haven't totally figured out yet. And even possible monitors that are in stores, in libraries, in universities, in post offices, and banks. Because a targeted individual, when I go out for the day, I can go to a post office, a bank, a movie theater, a grocery store, a library, a university. All of these places have monitors. So if people are being told to get, and buses and trolleys have monitors. If people are getting along my routes and told to engage in specific behaviors everywhere I go, and nowadays practically every single place has a monitor, look at what happens when you go to a hospital to get an MRI. You're placed in a machine that's basically monitoring your physiological signals and your brain, okay? Well, they have got this technology scaled down to handheld devices that are using cameras on the other side of the neural phone, or phones that look like cell phones, cameras that are in the back of tablets, cameras that are on the back of a monitor screen of a laptop. Yes. And cameras that are in post offices, libraries, grocery stores, banks. Magnetic resonance imaging through videos. Even TVs are now being used, and computer monitors are now being used. Go to YouTube and type in John Hall satellite terrorism. He talks to you about how they can blanket any environment with microwaves, interlace those microwaves with radio waves, modulate those radio waves down to interface with the bioelectric frequency of a target's brain. They don't even need a video camera anymore. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth concerning the factual realities of these organized stalking, gang stalking expeditions and what they're really about. To me, it's about deconstructing what they are, who they are, how they operate, and their technological resources attached to their expeditions, so people can watch their backs, because they are using everybody in the community through lies, slander, and extremely sophisticated deceit to get them, to motivate them to harass a target for them in these specific ways. And me, myself, I have been gang stalked and harassed through these ways along all my routes for 11 full years, every single day. Do you have any idea how many people have been used just against me, one target? And recently, an individual who runs an organization for organized stalking, gang stalking targets, he's got information on his organization concerning statistics from the Department of Justice. Okay, he states through surveys and through how many people have contacted the Department of Justice, over 500,000 targets alone in the United States, and that's not including the ones who don't know yet what's happening to them as gang stalking, so they don't know how to report it. Okay, so you think about it. Me plus 500,000 other targets, and each target is harassed every day by at least 30 separate people. Is the heart machine involved in organized stalking, remote neural monitoring? All you got to do is go to Macy Monroe's. She was a congressional candidate for the 28th District of Beverly Hills, California, November 12th elections. Google her. On priority number 2 of her website, she talks about satellite technology, HARP, 13th Amendment, because slavery is one of the results of targets. Yes, neural enslavement. Go to YouTube and type in Timothy W. bioethics issues. He talks about neurocognitive weapons and brain entrainment. Brain entrainment is directly connected to the neural enslavement that eventually happens to a target. Yes, and if they're neurally choreographing people, what do you think is going to end up happening to them? She became a target herself as a result of becoming a whistleblower. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth, so people can do their own research and then make informed decisions based on the conclusions they derive from their research. I have literally had children gaslight me, which means they have engaged in gang stalking towards me, because their parents have been duped to do it towards me. Yes, and I'm not the only one who's stating it. If you went to Google right now and typed in gang stalking and the type of people that are engaged in it, you'll flat out see many websites that talk about the other targets saying they've been gaslighted, which is basically a term that describes being harassed by people, okay, by anywhere from children to teenagers to adults to the elderly. They're neurally choreographing everybody and anybody they can using these deception means. I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. I make these videos to inform, to expose the truth. Thank you, and have a nice day.